Further remarks. The good member from the 19th District, Representative Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please do not concur with the changes made by the Voldemort of our bicameral legislative structure.
Please do not impugn the other chamber that we truly love. Please proceed.
I respect your ability to suspend disbelief, Mr. Speaker. On a serious note, please do not concur with the changes made to this proposal. This is a hard policy, and I'm not going to speak to the qualities and particulars of the policy, Mr. Speaker, only to the process that we're considering here. It's a difficult set of issues, and on this side of the rotunda, we worked out a really well-made, in my opinion, and hard-driven compromise in the language where we had started on this proposal and where we eventually got to what was passed off the floor. It's especially in these sorts of difficult policy points, Mr. Speaker, that we stand by the hard work that we do here. And the solution that we ultimately got to on our side of the rotunda was bipartisan, and it was well made. And it took some effort to get there. No, Mr. Speaker, it took a lot of effort to get there. And I think when we reach a bipartisan, hard-worked conclusion to a difficult policy point, regardless of what that policy point is, we need to defend our work. And I believe that by not concurring with the changes that have been made to this proposal, we are standing by the hard work we did. I think it's essential, especially in this kind of tough issue, that we defend our work, our position, our good faith efforts to make good public policy. The proposal as it left our floor was bipartisan, it was well worked, let's stand by it. Please do not concur to the changes that have been made.
Further remarks. The good member from the 19th District, Representative Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do believe the good gentleman from the 35th was trying to speak substantively to the bill.
Speaker would remind members to speak to the policy. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm loath to call this a bad bill, but I am asking you to vote no. As you've heard, Mr. Speaker, at play here in public policy are some of the most complicated elements of our law, particularly those related to family law. These are messy situations. These are some of the most complicated situations of divorce or paternity and throughout this body of family law that we have is the constant theme that we are trying to find what is best for the child or children involved. And I think that has to be our North Star on these issues. The question is, what is best for the child? And we have these situations in which there may have been abuse, or there may have been neglect, or there may have been mutual abuse, and there may have been love, and there may have been hate, and there may have been all kinds of things. And our courts have to sort through all of that and figure out what is best for the child. And the bipartisan version of this bill that we had that passed off this floor did as good a job as we can do to guide our courts and our judges through that almost impossibly complicated and messy body of law. These cases are, I have great sympathy for the judges who have to sort through them, because they are almost always unsolvable to any objective standard. But, Mr. Speaker, the version of this bill that we passed off the floor came as close as I think we can come to an objective standard for what a judge is supposed to do, sorting through the mess. And yes, it involved things like trauma-informed analysis. It involved things like, you've heard, the ACEs standard of measuring childhood trauma, childhood experiences, and how those affect people later in their lives. It did, I believe, a good and maybe even great standard of setting how judges should deal with these cases. And by reverting to an earlier version of this proposal, we are not doing the best job that we can do to rectify this messy area of the law. Mr. Speaker, I don't presume to know what is best for most in these convoluted, messy cases. But we've heard it said before, and it seems to me the most relevant thing we can say about these issues. Hard cases make bad law. We cannot be driven by our emotions and our emotional sympathies for people who've suffered in bad marriages and bad relationships, in strange family structures that haven't served well to the children produced. But I know what an objective decision-making process is. I know what a good, clear set of guidelines are. And we had that with the earlier version of this proposal. We don't have that anymore. Please vote no.